This video contains subject matter that may be offensive and disturbing to some people. If you are the type to require a warning throughout a video or show, let this message serve as your warning. This channel discusses the harsh reality of true crime. If this warning is not sufficient for you, consider a different genre and unsubscribe from my channel immediately. Hey, that'll wake you guys up for anybody who's falling asleep already. There we go. There's the screen. No dogs, nothing. It's already 9 o'clock here. I'm sure it's a lot later over there. All right. Thanks, Eugenie. Look at, you're already on the board over there. It's amazing. Yep, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to get through this one tonight. Maybe it's a two-nighter, I don't really know. But the Toy Box Killer. I think I've heard that before, but never knew anything about it. Oh, I have, Gray. I looked at it all the time. I'm an expert on it, Gray. Yeah. Hey, Charisma. Yep, midnight. That's right. So for those of you who want to help support the channel, you only got a few minutes before you go to sleep. Yeah, but anyways, this is just a regular show. It's just later. You know, my shows used to be at 9 o'clock. I would do these shows every single time at 9 o'clock. It wasn't until like the last 2 years or year and a half where it was... earlier. I mean, yeah, we started doing it at 6 or 5:36, something like that. Yeah, I played golf today. Haven't played in a while. And it was weird because first hole I got a double bogey. And I was like, ah, jeez. Because my friend didn't give me this like 2.5 footer and I missed it. So then I got a double bogey. Then I get parred the next hole. And then bogeyed the next one. Then I basically parred all the rest of the holes except one on the front, so I shot a 39. Then I moved over to the back 9 and played good again, but I got another double bogey on the back 9. So I was 4 over on the back going into the last hole, and all I needed was a bogey to get 79. And of course I hit this one shot, it went in the water, and I got a double bogey again. So I ended up shooting an 80. With, you know, it's not terrible, but I missed two footers and had 2 double bogeys. I mean, it was like, oh God. Unbelievable. You know, pretty crazy. Hey, thank you, Lisa Holland. Hi, Grand Freaks. Love you and everybody in my... Well, hello, Jenna out there. Lisa Holland's daughter, hi, Jenna.
Freaks. Love you, everybody, and my daughter, Jenna, says hi.
Yeah, I made a few long ones. I made about a 25-footer on one hole. They seemed like they had it set up like U.S. Open, where it was really quick and really deep stuff all around. Luckily, I usually hit it pretty straight. It's just, you know, I don't know. You know, I guess the score I got was the score I probably should have got because I got lucky a few times too. So, whatever. It is what it is. Let's see. Let me get the How's everybody else's weekend? Yeah. Cool. Yep, lazy weekend. Yeah, this case here is a weird one. I think this guy's a serial killer who's killed probably way more than he gets credit for. There's another one I was trying to do called The Axe Murders of New Orleans from 1918, but I couldn't find many newspaper articles on it, unfortunately. I mean, it was this kind of... I guess somebody must have got a hold of the actual files somewhere, and you know, there's different podcasts out there. Wikipedia has a good write-up on it, but it's not really... you know, I'm not going to read Wikipedia. That's ridiculous, you know. On what, Dan? The Axe Murders of New Orleans? Oh, of course you did, Dan. Of course you did. Right. Let's see. Where are we at here? Okay. Well, I expect you not to contribute into the chat then, because I don't know what your documentary had in it. I'm just doing what I'm doing, you know, so there's so much stuff on it. I do get to the trial portion of it. At some point, I bet there's some information in there. Wikipedia also, again, had a, you know, that's where you can get some of the main, but again, the people that, in this case, aren't really in newspapers.com or anything like that. Only one of them was barely in there. So anyways, we'll just get started here and see what happens. All right, so keep in mind, I'm going to be reading, you guys, so that's where you guys got to remember to look at the goal and maybe become one of the super freaks at the top of the screen, okay? Because usually when I read, nobody's chatting, nobody's paying attention, they're off doing something else, okay? Everybody is like, you know, vegging out in a corner somewhere, not participating in the chat, and, you know, then it just, the whole show suffers for it. So hang out with everybody here. Well, Gray, maybe that should tell you something. They don't like... Well, here's the funny thing is every single time that I tell people that we're reading, I'm doing these cases, oh, I love these kind, I love these kind. And you're the last person to communicate in the chat. So, yeah. Yeah, it's not Father's Day here. But guess what? I'm an actual father now. A stepdad, but hey, you know, that counts. I mean, I guess I've always been one, just from a distance, you know. I don't know. I usually just kind of sing for the members and stuff, but I haven't seen you in a million years, Mountain Jam 71. Let's see. Do you have a name? Well, we'll have to get dust Mary Lou out of the box there. I was just trying to get the show started. Let's see. What's the name? It would have helped if you'd put the name in the first one, then we don't have to wait for you to comment again. Yeah, Jesus. We're just waiting for Mountain Jam 71 to put the name in there. Of course you are gray. What? How far are you guys behind? I don't see any other comment other than that one. Maybe I don't have it on the... Oh, I don't have my... I didn't have live chat on. Yeah. If you don't have live chat on, it's weird how some people's comments don't show up for you. I guess they're not live. But Mary Lou, you gonna sing?
All right, Gray, here we go. Happy birthday to Randy. Happy birthday to Randy.
Why are you saying Randy like that?
I don't know, Gray, that's how I want to say it. Happy birthday to Randy. Happy birthday to you.
Hey, and also happy birthday to Randy. I don't know who Randy is, you know?
Gosh, Gray, that's just how I say it, man. You're so mean.
You're gonna cry on Randy's birthday? Man, you're so weird, Mary Lou.
Okay, Gray. Good night, everybody.
Wow. She just got the hell out of here. I don't know if you noticed that or not. There you go. Happy birthday, Randy. Or as Mary Lou likes to say, Randy. I guess none of you heard how Mary Lou pronounced it. Man, you guys get sidetracked so easily. It's like kids. All right, here we are. We're at the toy box killer. I'm going to start off on the very first article that I could find on one of the people. So here we go. In Albuquerque, police are asking for the public's help in finding a woman not seen since September. So this is in this all happened in New Mexico. Some of it I think in Arizona actually. But so this is on 1995, November 22nd. Jill Troya, 22, has not been heard from or seen since the night of September 30th. She met friends at a local club where they all began drinking, according to an APD news release. Later, she and friends went to a frontier restaurant at 2400 East Central. Yeah, seems like I've seen that one. Where's that? East Central. I wonder if it's right there. It says East Central though, right? East Central Avenue. I think it's the same spot. Yeah, I think it's the same. Oh, well, it's still the same place. Wow. Friends at a nightclub where they all began drinking. That's probably it, I would imagine. Okay. There, Troya and her friend had a disagreement, and the friend left, APD said. And there's always that little vulture sitting around. But Troya stayed at the restaurant. Family members told police it is uncharacteristic of Troya not to keep in touch with them, APD said. Troya is of Asian descent, 5 feet tall, weighs 100 pounds, and has brown eyes and short brown hair. She was last seen wearing a t-shirt gray jeans, white sneakers, and prescription glasses with a metal frame. So that was an article that actually popped up when she was missing. And the reality is she's never actually been found. And then it just kind of goes right into like 1999. So there's other people that are missing and so forth, but they're not really in the paper. Okay, so it says 2 held in alleged attack on Albuquerque woman. An Albuquerque woman was safe Tuesday after she was abducted over the weekend, taken to a town near Truth of Consequences and beaten and raped, the state police reported. 2 people from the town of Elephant Butte were arrested Tuesday in connection with the alleged attack on 22-year-old woman, according to a state police news release. The woman was kidnapped from the Albuquerque area Saturday, the release said. Information on how and where she was abducted wasn't available late Tuesday. She was taken to a home on Elephant Butte, which is northeast of Torcy, and was physically and sexually assaulted, and the release said. About 3 p.m. Monday, the woman escaped, the release said. Someone called, so she actually escaped. She probably would be dead if she didn't. Someone called 911 and reported a nude, hysterical woman on a road in Elephant Butte. Remember that case we did a while ago where that guy was running down the road nude because he escaped this guy that was torturing and killing people in his house? I can't remember exactly where it was, but no, his name was Bacon, Kevin Bacon. Remember that? A deputy sent, I think he was the one that got killed, but there was another victim that got away. A deputy sent to investigate found the woman, who was visibly shaken and who sustained cuts and bruises. She was treated, then released to family members, Byer said. Based on the woman's statements, investigators obtained arrest warrants for David Parker Ray, 59, and Cindy Hindi, 38, both of Elephant Butte, said State Police Richard Newman. Both were booked into Sierra County Detention Center on Tuesday on charges of kidnapping, assault, criminal sexual penetration, and 2 counts of conspiracy. Both were being held without bond. Yeah, I'm going, this is just back in time. This is March of 1999 here. Women recounts torture, Elephant Butte pair charged in sex attack. A New Mexico State Parks maintenance worker and a woman he believes a woman he lives with in Elephant Butte are being held on charges they kidnapped an Albuquerque woman, tied her up, and beat her, raped her, and kept her prisoner for 3 days. David Parker Ray, 59, and Cynthia Leah Hindi, 39, were arrested Tuesday and made their first court appearance Wednesday before Sierra County Magistrate Thomas G. Pestak. Pestak set bond for each at $1 million cash. I mean, that's huge. Back then, I mean, yeah, only cash only, said an officer at the Sierra County Jail, where Ray and Hindi remained late Wednesday afternoon. According to a criminal complaint, a Sierra County Sheriff's deputy found the 22-year-old victim Tuesday after getting a 911 call from a home on Bass Road in Elephant Butte. Let's see where that is. See this little tiny town here. So that's interesting. Let me just put a pin here. See if we can find this later. Bass Road, Elephant. Yeah. According to a criminal complaint, a Sierra County Sheriff's deputy found 22-year-old victim Tuesday after getting a 911 call from a home on Bass Butte in Elephant Butte. The woman, who was dressed only in a pink robe when deputies found her, wore a padlocked metal collar that was attached to a chain. She had cuts, bruises, bumps on her head, welts, and her back, and small puncture wounds and light. Man, this is crazy. Oh, there it is. Yeah, let's look at that. Bruising on her breast, according to the complaint. Sierra County Sheriff Terry Byers said the victim was treated at a local hospital and released. The collar had to be cut off. The victim told investigators she was on Central Avenue in Albuquerque on Saturday morning, where she was introduced to Hendy and Ray by an acquaintance. She went with the suspects to a recreational vehicle, the complaint said, where Ray accused her of prostitution. David Ray showed her a small badge and told her she was under arrest for solicitation, the complaint said. Cindy Hendy then came out of the restroom and handcuffed her. She then restrained, so Cindy Hendy is part of this, she's one of the accomplices. Came out of the restroom and handcuffed her. She was then restrained to a fixture inside the camper. The suspects then stripped her of her clothing and threatened to shock her with an electrical device. The suspects reportedly took the woman to a home in Elephant Butte and tied her to a bed by her arms and legs. According to the complaint, the woman told investigators that Ray assaulted her sexually with sex objects as Hendy watched. She also said Hendy waved a small revolver and threatened to shoot her if she tried to escape. She described receiving shock therapy, in which on 2 occasions David Ray would attach electrical type connections to her breast, which would send electrical shocks through her body, the complaint said. The complaint also said the victim told police Hendy and Ray whipped her on the back with a leather object with straps as she was tied up and hung from the ceiling. Afterwards, Ray allegedly sexually assaulted her. On Monday, Ray left the victim at a home with Hendy while he went to work, the complaint said. The victim told police she managed to escape but got into a scuffle with Hendy, who struck her on the head with a lamp, the complaint said. She hit Hendy in the head with an ice pick to get away. Wow. She said, wearing only a metal collar. When deputies later searched the house, the complaint said, they saw sexual devices and restraints in plain view. State police investigators armed with search warrants had sealed off Ray's property and were searching a mobile home there Wednesday afternoon. Officers on the scene would not comment on what they had found. So you guys, we're reading right now, and if you notice, the freak goal has not moved since the reading began. So if you guys could help support the channel, just like I say, on a nightly basis, that'd be absolutely awesome. It also provides more energy for reading endlessly. Ray's home is around the corner from the home of part-time Elephant Butte resident Doris Mitchell, who was one of the first people to spot the victim as she fled her alleged captors. Mitchell said she was returning from a grocery shopping Monday afternoon when she saw a thin, naked woman in the road. As Mitchell drove closer, the woman tried to open Mitchell's passenger door, but it was locked. That's when I saw all the chains on her and the blood, Mitchell said. She was just running around in circles. At first, I thought someone was chasing her, but I didn't see anyone. There were chains around her arms, and they were hanging down. She had blood on her face. It was quite a shock. Well, thanks, Danielle. You're always so generous. Thank you. Oh, and Relaney Jones, right behind. What? Was that going to be too quick? I bet Relaney Jones will not be able to be the super freak, even though you're always a super freak, okay? Sorry I'm late. I will have to go back and watch the beginning, but for now I just want to make my donation. Well, thank you. That was very kind of you.
Chewbacca?
Let's see.
Oh, I'll be Chewbacca.
Yeah, so hers is already on there. I'm wondering if she'll... So Danielle is now the super freak. Let's see.
Crime does sector, turkey detector. I'm a certified you a lie detector. Gonna get you, I'm a stretcher. You can translate like a little projector. Trifecta is my nectar.
Oh, wow, look at that. Ash runs wild.
Sorry I'm late, I will have to go back and watch the beginning, but for now I just want to make my donation to help the freaks and the channel.
Well, thank you. You forgot the Relani Jones, the... I mean, well, you didn't forget. We just started, though. Like, I mean, this first case here is crazy because... I mean, I read one that doesn't even show up. This is one where... this is why they got busted. Somebody escaped what they were doing, and this lady would have been killed. She survived, she escaped, and that's how everything got revealed. But you know what's amazing is this guy's like 59 years old. That's usually past the age you're still doing this shit, you know? I know. You should have been, but it was so quick after Danielle's, it doesn't... Yeah. Yeah, and then Ash Run Wild was enough behind you that it worked. But hey, Relani Jones, you're a super freak. I'm not sure what you said in there, but you deleted the comment. Anyways, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Now what we could do is we could go like this. Oh wait, not that one. That one doesn't work. We could take her face. What would happen if I made a second? Yeah, this one. And then move it over. And she can kind of like share it. For now. There you go. you can it can be Ash Runs Wild. And let me see if I can. Yeah, it doesn't let me do just the name part too. There you go. How do you like that? Is that good? I sort of fixed it a little bit. You still there, Relani Jones? I just want to make sure you're okay with that. Had to try something creative. All right. Well, she probably can't hear me because she... Well, no, she probably went back and watched the beginning. I always feel bad about that. But there's nothing I can do. It's just kind of a stupid glitch they have. I don't know why it matters. But anyways, I mean, look at the crazy stuff this lady was going through in that house. Hung upside down and everything. And then she finally, let's see. That's when I saw all the chains on her and blood, Mitchell said. So a neighbor saw her. She was just running around in circles. At first, I thought someone was chasing her, but I didn't see anyone. There were chains around her arms, and they were hanging down. Now, let's see. What does this say? Love you guys, and you don't know how much you help me every night, and I don't really have any social life, so you guys are actually my friends, and the show helps me every time. Oh, well, that's so nice of you, but that sounds sort of sad, too. What's going on? Are you, is everything okay with you? Like, safe and things? Are you safe? Hope so. That's right, we're the freak family, Plato. And there's a lot of people out in the world who, not just the freaks, but the, you know, even the DNA, we're giving people's names back and everything like that. So they're all part of the family. Yeah, this whole thing. It's kind of a cool thing, even though, you know, I piss people off, you know, every other day or every day. But anyways, oh, I'm glad you have a place you can feel comfortable and hang out. Yeah, even at Thanksgiving dinner. Well, that's so awesome, Relani. You should be proud of yourself being able to do that. Very cool. That's awesome. You're awesome. You sound like my mom. That's, I mean, yeah. Any single moms out there that just made it work, man, you guys are freaking awesome. And, you know, single dads too, but it seems like there's more single moms. I mean, way more, really. I mean, like 90% of the single parents, the mom's going to have the kids. Yeah. Well, sit back and chill out and listen to somebody this I mean, this case is horrendous. I mean, it's insane. Okay. So here we go. I'm just going to keep going. You guys can chat and do whatever. So let me go back to this part. So this lady named Mitchell, Doris Mitchell, said she was returning home from grocery shopping Monday afternoon when she saw a thin, naked woman in the road. As Mitchell drove closer, the woman tried to open Mitchell's passenger door, but it was locked. That's when I saw all the chains on her and the blood, Mitchell said. She was running around in circles. At first, I thought someone was chasing her, but I didn't see anybody. There were chains around her arms, and they were hanging down. She had blood on her face. It was quite a shock. The chains appeared to be like smaller chains available in hardware stores, she said. She didn't say anything. She didn't make any noise at all, Mitchell said. Just looked wild. Wow, that's crazy. Let's see. Mitchell said she stayed in her car because she didn't know if the woman was on drugs or was being chased. She said she drove a little further and asked another motorist to call police. Mitchell said she and her family spent a few days a month at Elephant Butte. It's a quiet area. People party, but other than that, it's mostly older, retired people. Especially during the week, there's just not that many people. New Mexico State Parks Director Tom Torrio said Wednesday that the male suspect had been employed as a maintenance worker for his agency in Truth or Consequences, that's a place, for at least 5 years. He worked on equipment. Let me see where that is. Kind of a weird name for a town. Okay, so Truth or Consequences is right here. New Mexico looks like Mars half the time. Look at this, just red dirt everywhere. Ray is being held on charges of kidnapping, 3 counts of criminal sexual penetration, assault with an intent to commit a violent felony. Handy is being held on charges of kidnapping, accessory to crime of criminal sexual penetration, assault with intent to commit violent felony, conspiracy to crime of kidnapping, and conspiracy to crime of criminal sexual penetration. Okay. And here we go. Investigators now right at, let's see, what date is this one? This is March 27th. So this is just a couple days after that other article. Investigators think kidnapping suspect linked to other cases. That's really cool. That's awesome, Merlane Jones. You'd absolutely be incredibly proud of yourself. Amazing. I think it's the dumbest name in the history I've ever seen as a town name, Danielle. It's ludicrous. Investigators think kidnapping suspect linked to other cases. District Attorney Ron Lopez wants to know if two people accused of kidnapping, torturing, and sexually assaulting a woman for 3 days targeted others. The victim at this point may be leading us to believe there are other victims out there. State police investigators and an evidence team from the FBI again spent the day at the home where David Parker Ray, 59, and Cynthia Lee Handy allegedly kept an Albuquerque woman for 3 days before she escaped. Apparently, this lady was made to listen to audio tapes of other victims. And Cynthia Lee Handy, 39, allegedly kept Albuquerque woman for 3 days before she escaped. Lopez said the crime scene teams would likely remain at the home, which is near the village of Elephant Butte, east of Truth or Consequences, for several more days. Lopez says he asked for help from FBI crime scene investigators. Let's see. Because police need their expertise in laboratory as well. It's one of these crime scenes that just gives you that feeling that there's something else out there, Lopez said. There's reasonable grounds to believe we may have other victims. Let's see. They're trying to put the pieces together of what appears to be a very sick and disturbing puzzle. That takes time. Ray is charged with kidnapping and criminal sexual penetration. Well, we know that part. Ray and Handy were held on bond for $1 million each. Arrest warrant affidavit filed against Ray and Handy alleged that during the ordeal, which began last Saturday, the 22-year-old victim was tied up, beaten with a leather object, shocked with some sort of electrical device, threatened with a pistol, and sexually assaulted. The affidavit also said a Sierra County sheriff's deputy who entered Ray's home saw various sexual devices and restraints in the bedroom. Lopez, who toured the alleged crime scene, said parts of it appeared to have been set up specifically for this type of situation. He said that in my experience, there must be other victims or people who participated willingly. The investigation began Monday afternoon when one of Ray's neighbors saw the alleged victim in a roadway. She was naked and bloody, the neighbor said. The arrest warrant affidavit said she also had collar around her neck that was secured with a padlock. The alleged victim told investigators that she met Ray and Handy in Albuquerque last Saturday. The woman said after joining the couple inside a recreational vehicle, Ray showed her a badge and told the woman she was under arrest for solicitation as a prostitution. The suspects then allegedly took her south to Ray's home, where authorities have said Handy also lived. Let's look that up really quick. Her name is Cindy Lee Handy. Okay. Cindy, and then Handy in Elephant, right? Elephant Butte, right? Yeah, there she is. I think she might be the one with that address. Let's see. They had a P.O. box listed though in that town. So that's one of the problems. Yeah. P.O. Box 148, Elephant Butte. So we're gonna have to do a visual situation here in a few minutes. But on March 31st. Is this interesting to you guys? Yeah, hey Lark, do you mind if we just go through the case, guy? Oh, I've already gone through this. How just let the story develop on the show. Thanks. Hendy's background filled with abuse, trouble, son says. A woman charged in a sexual torture case in New Mexico had a life marred with abusive men. So a woman charged in a sexual torture case in New Mexico had a life marred with abusive men, alcohol, and drugs. Cindy Lee Handy, 39, is in the Sierra County Jail in Truth or Consequences. She and co-defendant David Parker Ray, 59, have been charged with 25 counts, each including kidnapping, aggravated battery, and conspiracy. At least 2 women have said they were held and tortured by the couple. Wow, so now they got another woman. Handy, who has 3 children in Seattle area, moved to New Mexico in 1997, said her son, Shane Larson of Kent. I'm still shocked. I can't really believe it. She ain't the person who would do this kind of thing, said Larson, 22. He said Tuesday he had seen his mother for more than 2 years, but spoke with her on the phone last week. He said he suggested she come back here and just straighten up. He said his mother cried throughout the call. Handy told him she was going out with a park ranger and quit drinking and was coming up here to see us because my sister was having a baby next month. She asked how we were all doing and said she loved us. Handy's older daughter, Heather Handy, 18, said she had expected her mother to return to Everett, Washington soon for birth of her first child. Handy has also a daughter that's 12 years old who lived in Everett with a grandmother. Handy's 3 children all had different fathers. A lot of her boyfriends were very abusive, drank alcohol a lot. We've seen that our whole life growing up, he said. Yeah. Yeah, well, maybe it's something you're doing, Handy. Do you ever wonder about that? I mean, you're a psycho who's part of, right next to the killer. You're the one that's putting handcuffs on. Larson said his mother was present only on and off. So this sounds like it's an article trying to make her seem like she's a victim too. It didn't seem like she got very far out of his sight, Heather said. Everybody agrees. I mean, everybody in my family knows her too, and they just don't feel like that's something my mom would do willingly on her own. Court records show Cindy Handy filed domestic violence charges twice against a man she spent several years with in the Seattle area. Handy and the man were arrested July 4th, 1995 on charges of stealing $3,300 worth of aluminum pipes from a King County Department transportation storage lot in Kirkland. Handy was also charged with forgery and possession of stolen property in 1979 and for cocaine possession in 1993. Both of those cases resulted in deferred prosecution. Larson said his mother grew up in Seattle University District. When she wasn't drinking, she liked to read romance novels and watch TV. Soap operas, Larson said. Yeah, sounds like a real winner. So torture, town under siege as torture probe unfolds. So I think that's at the piece of property. So this is that road. Where was that road? Right here, Bass Road, where that neighbor or somebody called 911. It could be this one right here, based on the angle of that house. We'll have to see later. I don't think there's any street view in here. Oh, there is. Shit. But this is what it looks like. I mean, this is the area. Just in the middle of nowhere, really. Just, oh, let's put houses here. I mean, this is like a massive story over here. From a command post high over Elephant Butte Lake, FBI agents have a majestic view of pristine blue water and the brown desert hills that surround it, but they have no time to gaze at the stark contrast. Phones are ringing, and officer is bawling out assignments, and dozens of police officers and FBI agents are scattering in different directions to... the atmosphere is very busy, very intense, very organized. FBI agent, Special Agent Doug Belden said, set up in a converted boat hangar above the visitor center at Elephant Butte State Park. The command post is a center of activity for the dozens of federal, state law enforcement, investigating, and state maintenance worker and his girlfriend. So they're talking about David Parker Ray, 59, and Cindy Hendy, 39, are accused of kidnap, rape, and the torture of two women who said they were chained and tormented with sexual devices. On Wednesday, agents were off to interviews, digging for evidence in crime scene on Ray's half-acre lot a few miles away, and catalog evidence taken from Ray's mobile home. The officers and agents, now numbering near 100, have filled motels and restaurants. The command post is the busiest. Let's see. When they take a break, many head for K-Bob's Steakhouse in nearby Truth or Consequences, a local eatery frequented by hunters and fishermen. Let's see. Citizens have been kind and cooperative, he said. They are supportive of what we are doing. And I think that was where that one ended. So residents described defendant's personality. David Parker Ray, accused of sexually torturing two women, is described as polite and willing to help people he barely knew. He even won a state efficiency award. Cynthia Lee Hendy, Ray's girlfriend and co-defendant, wrote to a judge last December that she drinks too much and was on drugs to treat manic depression. The two are charged with 25 counts, including criminal, sexual penetration, kidnapping, and aggravated battery. Two women accused Ray and Hendy of holding them against their will this winter. They said they were molested by Ray while Hendy watched. They said Hendy held a gun and threatened to kill them if they tried to escape. Ray's co-workers are flabbergasted by the allegations. Glenn Parks, a volunteer who works at the Elephant Butte State Park Visitor Center, said Ray was the neatest, cleanest, politest person you could ever want to meet. Ray was a maintenance worker at the state park for about 5 years, fixing vehicles and heavy machinery in a garage on the grounds, said the boss, Jerome Madrid, a New Mexico State Parks manager. Madrid said he didn't socialize with Ray, but he depended on him to do his job. We're as shocked as everybody else. In July of 1995, a state board awarded Ray $1,182 and a certificate of recognition for special achievement. Why $1,182? Why not just $1,000 or $1,500 or something? Hey, you've won an award. Here's $1,182. A letter extended its sincere appreciation and congratulations to Mr. Ray for his exemplary work and dedication. Parks said Ray offered to help fix the state park's trailer where Parks lived. Parks declined, but said Ray still offered his tools. To me, it's totally mind-boggling that this is happening. It's scary, Parks said. In September 1997, Miss Hindi filed a domestic violence complaint against her boyfriend, John Edward Youngblood. The complaint alleged Youngblood grabbed her by the arms and pulled her out of a pickup truck, slamming her back on the ground and causing her to hit her head on the pavement. The case was dismissed last November when sheriff deputies couldn't find Miss Hindi. In December 1998, Miss Hindi again accused Youngblood of violence, but she withdrew those allegations and wrote a letter asking State District Judge Thomas Fitch to drop the case, saying she lied. I had been in counseling for manic depression and on medication, and I tend to go off for no reason, her letter said. She wrote that she was getting help and concluded, I drink too much and that's why I'm on medication. On February 9th, Youngblood was given probation on condition that he stay out of Sierra County and away from Miss Hindi. He told me she was mentally unstable, she was violent, that he was the one who ended up getting in trouble, but that she initiated these things, said Ryan Former, Chief Judge of Municipal Court in Las Cruces. See, everybody, you're all just really still. I can see out of the corner of my eye. There's no typing. Absolutely no typing. Anyways, I'm going to move on to the next page here. There's that another link story. Investigators are looking into whether the disappearance of a young Truth or Consequences mother of two could be linked to a kidnapping and sexual torture case. According to the Sierra County Sheriff Department missing person report, 24-year-old Marie B. Barker. Hello, anybody there? Watch out, you guys. Investigators are looking for whether or not they're... Okay, so according to a Sierra County Sheriff Department missing person report, 24-year-old Marie B. Parker was last seen at the Blue Water Saloon in Elephant Butte on July 5th, 1997. The report on Parker's disappearance does not name David Parker Ray, who, with Cindy Lee Hindi, is accused of kidnapping and torturing two women. Ray and Hindi have not been charged with any crime related to the Marie Parker case. They have been charged with kidnapping, sexual assault, and conspiracy in the alleged attacks on two women who said they were imprisoned at Ray's home. But that matches exactly what their MO is. So this Parker goes to a bar and goes missing from the bar, and that's probably exactly... And this is one of the people listed as a victim. I've been searching and searching for 2 years. I've got her on almost every prayer chain in the entire United States, the elder Parker said. 2 years in hell is a hell of a long time to go without your friend, your daughter, your blood. Kate Parker, who lives in Albuquerque, is caring for Marie Parker's daughter, ages 4 and 5. The missing person report said Parker's car, a 1993 Geo Metro, was found in the lot of the Blue Water Saloon after she was reported missing by her half-brother, Tom McCauley. Let's see if that's still there. Raymond's Lounge? Why'd they go to that? I typed in the other one, so maybe that's what that used to be. Maybe somebody can check to see if Raymond's Lounge used to be the Blue Waters Saloon. Well, let's go to the ground. Maybe there's an old street view that shows it. And the street view is from... it's April this year. That's crazy. Yeah, now it's not even... I guess that's a gas station there. It's probably not even the right place. Let me see. Bars in Elephant Butte. Well, there's a bar over here. That's at a golf course, though. Yeah, that's... Saloon Del Rio. I don't know. Thanks, CG. And yes, you too, you guys. You guys can also help reach the goal for tonight's show. And then we just go into cruise mode. So this is... I don't think that's the Blue Water Saloon there. Here, let's type it in. Blue Water Saloon in Elephant Butte, New Mexico. Now that says truth or consequences. Is that where that was? Maybe that's where it was, not in... The missing person said Parker's car... Oh, okay, maybe it is truth or consequences. Alright. Let's see. Ah, okay. That's what they're saying, that is? Highway 95 and Warm Springs Boulevard. Okay, that's 195. And so is this Warm Springs Boulevard? Yep. So it's right there. Now let's go back. How about we go to the map up here and go back to 2004. And now there's something right there. Let's see what happens. Yeah. Was it still there? And let's see, 2011. Hey, let's try this then. Go to Alright. So what happens if we go down the street view? Ah, what happened to it? Oh, that's Google Earth. Right here is what I meant. There we go. I can go back to 2008. I have a feeling it's this thing right over here that was just went missing. this thing. I don't know why. I think this is it. What's it called? Blue Water Saloon. That looks kind of like that'd be like a bar or something. That sign's the same. Let me go one more spot down. Live band. Well, you left the sign up and then you blurred it like idiots. Hold on. God, it looks like that might be what it is, right? A live band, Saturday night, big, it's got a blue sign. What do you think? I think that's it. I think that building right there is the one. And it's gone now. So I'm gonna that's what I'm gonna put down on here. Yeah, right there. Blue Water Saloon. Yeah. Most there's a pic. Let me see if there's a picture of it though. Maybe. No. Is that it? No. Okay. The report said that according to Macaulay, he and someone named Kevin J. Rankins were with Parker on July 5th when she told Macaulay she was going to the Blue Waters and would be back in about 2 hours. That was the last time Tom saw his sister. The report said Rankin confirmed that Marie was going to Blue Waters to meet with two individuals. Rankin said he believed Parker was going to meet two people named Clay and David, the report said, but he did not know David's last name. According to an August 1997 police report, shortly after the disappearance of Parker's mother told police Marie ran away from home at the age of 14 and was gone for about 5 years. She also said Marie was living in her car the last time she saw her. Investigators here have asked for the Albuquerque Police Department files on missing women, which included 1995 disappearance of Jill Troya. APD violent crimes detective Carla Gandera, who looked into the Troya case, said Friday that Jessie Ray, who also uses the name Glenda Ray, was the last person seen with Troya. Man, so that's like the relative of David Parker Ray. So remember that Troya individual? That means now there's a connection here. APD violent crimes detective Carla Gandera, who looked into the Troya case, said Friday that Jessie Ray, who also uses the name Glenda Ray, was the last person seen with Troya. She said the friend who reportedly argued with Troya before her disappearance was Jessie Ray. Oh boy. When asked whether the Jessie Ray involved in the Troya case was David Ray's daughter, Gandera said that's what it appears to be at this time. According to a check on Glenda J. Ray's driver's license number obtained by the Journal from a police report on traffic accidents and truth or consequences, her address of 513 Bass Road matches that. There we go. Now we have the address. We don't have to worry about 513 Bass Road. And here we go. This is Ray's property. So we were pretty close down here. Yeah, I knew it was a property with an angle on it like that. So let me put a pin here, and there we go. Ray's property. Gandara confirmed that the FBI requested some information about the Troya case. She also said she interviewed Jesse Ray, but the interview is not yet a public record because it's an inactive case. Just a second. Okay. Meanwhile, the process of collecting evidence wound down Friday. About mid-morning, a trailer next to David Ray's home was taken to a storage area in Santa Fe. Crime scene tape was surrounded. About 7 homes behind Ray's property was taken down, and police removed barriers blocking Bass Road. Crime scene tape around Ray's property was not removed, and a state police mounted patrol officer kept watch. The evidence recovery component of the investigation is pretty well caught up. We're not scaling... what's it say down here? We're not scaling back the operation, Bertram said. We just got some people who have been here for 11 days, and we don't need to keep them all here for the weekend. Let's see what I missed. Okay, once the barn door is open, you can't close it, Rain said. He said some people might have decided that Ray and Hindi are guilty and must be convicted and put away. Oh yeah, they're talking about evidence put out there. Rain and Darren White, director of the State Department of Public Safety, has publicly made comments that could make it hard for Ray to get a fair trial, Rain said. Among White's comments were those made at a town hall meeting to the effect that the case was 99% on a scale of 1 to 100 when it came to severity. Well, because it is, you know. Alright. Women camped by Ray's home. Witness yells at defendant. So that's him right there. What is, Danielle? Are you like on rewind or something? We're not showing anything. Hey, the last day of the day crew today made the goal. So it'd be cool if the night crew could do the same thing with 5 times the number of people. Isn't that amazing? Yeah. Marie B. Parker spent the days immediately before she disappeared in 1997 staying on the beach just north of David Parker Ray's home. Recently, evicted from her apartment, Parker was sleeping with one of her 2 daughters in a tent owned by Ray, according to Heather Norton, a friend of Ray's daughter, Jessie. As they do every year, Norton said people poured into the Elephant Butte area around the 4th of July of 1997. Norton and her brother, Dennis Roy Yancey, so this Yancey guy is a bad person too, spent time hanging out with Jessie and David Ray. Parker who was friends with Yancey and Jesse Ray, didn't come up to the house for a party on the 4th of July, Norton said. A day later, the 22-year-old Parker disappeared from Elephant Butte Bar. Police believe she was killed shortly after her disappearance a week ago. They arrested Yancey, charging him with murdering Parker. Is this the... Oh yeah, these are... Missing woman camp near... Okay, there it is. Yancey's arrest, according to authorities, is related to the sexual torture and kidnapping case that FBI agents and state police have been investigating for several weeks. David Parker Ray, 59, and Cynthia Leah Hindi, 39, and also this Yancey guy are all part of the same thing. Norton said her brother, who had dated Parker years earlier, also dated Hindi briefly in the late 1998. Thus far, authorities will say only that Yancey is known to be a past associate of Ray and Hindi. Norton said she was certain Parker knew David Ray since she was using his tent and was friends with Jesse. Hey, thank you, Snarky Cinderella. Everybody who meets Jess meets her dad, Norton said. Tom McCauley, Parker's half-brother, said he'd been staying at his sister's apartment before they were all evicted on July 1st. So anyways, they're throwing out a whole bunch of different names. I don't want to get it too confusing here. Let's just read this sort of this background thing here. Key figures. Born in Belen in 1939, Ray was working as a mechanic for the State Parks Division when he was arrested March 23rd. FBI agents and state police spent about 2 weeks combing his house and property near Elephant Butte Lake. Ray has been married at least 3 times and has a son and a daughter. Before settling near Elephant Butte, Ray lived in Phoenix, Albuquerque, and Victoria, Texas. He's been a mechanic for a railroad company, run a gas station, and taught aircraft engine repair, according to his application with the Parks Department. Ray, 59, pleaded innocent to 25 charges, including counts of kidnapping, sexual abuse, battery, and conspiracy. He remains in jail in lieu of $1 million bail. Then you got Marie, this is a victim here, Marie Parker. Marie B. Parker was 22 years old, mother of 2 when she disappeared from the Blue Water Saloon in Elephant Butte on July 5th, 1997. Her brother told police he worried her disappearance was related to a bad drug deal. Nobody has been found. Parker spent a couple of nights immediately before she disappeared sleeping in a tent owned by Ray near his home at the lake, according to Dennis Roy, Yancey's sister, Heather Norton. Wow, that's crazy. Tom McCauley, Parker's brother, said Marie dated Yancey years ago and was friends with David Parker, Ray's daughter. Yeah, so David Parker, Ray's daughter, yeah. And then Cynthia Lee Hindi here, this is the other, like, I guess it's his girlfriend or something. I mean, she's 39, he's 59. Hindi, Ray's girlfriend, was living with him at the time of their arrest. Alleged kidnapping victims have told the police that Hindi, armed with a small revolver, watched while Ray sexually tortured them. She faces charges of being an accessory to kidnapping, being accessory to criminal sexual penetration, and conspiracy. She's in jail in lieu of $1 million bail. Handy, 39, came to New Mexico in 1997 from Seattle. According to her son, she also has 18 and 12-year-old daughters. She likes reading romance novels and watching TV soap operas, her son said. She's been arrested before on charges involving theft and drugs. Okay, now this is another victim. Jill Troya, 22, was a Central Avenue bar in Albuquerque with Jesse Ray David Ray's daughter, the evening. So this is the thing. So this girl was with Jessie Ray, David Ray's daughter, the evening she disappeared in September of 1995, according to a missing persons report. Police working on the Elephant Butte case have confirmed that Troya's disappearance is one they're investigating. And then there's a Jane Doe here. And so this case here, I guess there's two Jane Does here, but I actually told Misty, I go, hey, you know, you might want to check to see if these are still two Jane Does. And the investigation started when one of David Parker Ray's neighbors found, and maybe we could fund one of these if they have one, found a 22-year-old woman naked and bloody on the side of the road. The woman was wearing a padlocked metal collar attached to a chain, according to court documents. The woman told police she was on Central Avenue in Albuquerque on the morning of March 20th, where she was introduced to Cynthia Leah Hendy and David Parker Ray by an acquaintance. So Cindy Hendy, one of the, you know, so this woman was introduced to them. Oh, the Jane Does in this case might be, they're not saying their names to protect them, I guess. But I think there was one where there was a body listed. Yeah, it's actually on the Wikipedia site. So these are, I think they're listing them to protect their identities because they survived. The woman told police she was on Central Avenue in Albuquerque on the morning of March 20th when she was introduced to Cindy Hendy and David Ray by an acquaintance. She went with the suspects to a recreational vehicle, the complaint said, where Ray showed her a small badge and accused her of prostitution. The suspect reportedly took the woman to a home in Elephant Butte where Ray assaulted her sexually and Hendy watched, the complaint said. On March 22nd, Ray left the woman at the home with Hendy while he went to work, and the woman managed to escape, the complaint said. About a week after the first alleged victim escaped, a second woman came forward. She told police that on February 17th, she went to David Parker Ray's home to pick up a cake mix. She told police she was kidnapped by Ray and Hendy, who were armed with a knife and a gun. According to court affidavit filed against Ray and Hendy, the second victim was stripped of her clothes and was bound with a metal neck collar and other restraints. The woman allegedly was held captive for 5 days and was sexually assaulted by Ray while Hendy watched, according to court documents. On February 21st, she was able to persuade her captors to let her free, according to the affidavit. She told police she was, man, how'd she do that? She told police she was taken to a spot along Interstate 25 and released. I wonder how she did that, man. Thanks, Plato. We're at, what is it, 64%, not too bad.
Grand gesture.
Not Play-Doh, but Plato. And this is Yancey, the other person. Dennis Roy Yancey is the only suspect in the case to be charged with murder. Police arrested the 27-year-old on April 9th, accusing him of killing Marie B. Parker. When arrested, he'd been at his new job for about 90 minutes. According to his boss, the owner of the Black Range Motel and Restaurant in Truth and Consequences, Yancey is said to have dated Parker and Hendy, and authorities have called him an associate of David Parker Ray. Yancey has worked at a fast food restaurant and grocery store. It almost feels like it's a true, what is it called? Like a community of these people here. I mean, that are sort of conspiring to do these things. It's weird. Feels sort of like the Dropbox account in the Kagan Klein. Like a ring is what was the word I was looking for. Then April 17th, this article came out. Trial ordered for suspect in New Mexico sex torture case. So let's see what this one says. A judge ruled Friday that David Parker Ray must stand trial in the abduction of 2 women who said they were held in bondage and sexually tortured in an instrument-filled trailer called the Toy Box. District Judge Neil Mertz said the evidence was sufficient to show Ray may have committed the crimes outlined in the 25 counts against him. The charges include kidnapping, criminal sexual penetration, and aggravated battery. Charges against Ray's co-defendant, Cindy Hendy, were reduced from 25 to 5 counts of conspiracy and being an accessory. A proposed plea agreement would put her in prison for at least 12 years, but still must be signed by a judge. Until the agreement is signed, the other charges could be reinstated. Hendy had waived a preliminary hearing this week. She is also a victim, her attorney, Xavier Acosta, said Friday. Right. Another defendant, Dennis Roy Yancey, is charged with murdering a 22-year-old woman who vanished from an Elefante Butte bar 2 years ago. Investigators have not ruled out other homicides or arrests in a 3-week investigation that generated more than 1,000 pieces of evidence and more than 100 leads and involves as many as 10 states, including Arizona. A Phoenix man missing for 10 years has been identified by New Mexico police, this is a new person, as having been found floating in Elephant Butte Lake on September 28, 1989. Elephant Butte police say the corpse, which was wrapped in a blue tarp and weighted with boat anchors, was that of Billy Ray Bowers. He had been shot in the head. There was still $47.49 in his pocket. A Phoenix police spokesman said a man named Billy Ray Bowers, born in November 1934, was reported missing from a car repair shop near downtown Phoenix on September 25, 1989. Detective Mike McCullough said Bowers' girlfriend told detectives he went to work that Sunday and didn't return home. McCullough added he understood New Mexico police had used dental records to identify Bowers. Hey, thanks, Cat Stewart. Hey, from the UK. Must be in the morning over there. Thanks for appreciating me. Sometimes it's hard to know, you know.
Chewbacca? Oh, I'll do Chewbacca if you want me to.
You are appreciated, Gray.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Jessica Schubach. Hey, look at that, man. We're almost there.
Surf in Plato's wave. Surfer.
That's pretty funny, Dan. Dan said, by the look of the town, it doesn't look like there are many outstanding members of the community. You should have put that it looks like there are. Then it would have been dry humor, sarcastic. It would have been better. I think most of us would have got it. Let's see. He understood. New Mexico police had used dental records to identify Bowers. So this is a guy, another person. Whether Bowers' death is linked with sex torture case developing in the New Mexico town of Elephant Butte is unclear, but authorities said earlier they had reason to believe the case might have Arizona links. Elephant Butte police wouldn't confirm where Bowers was born or say whether his death was part of the torture case. However, and then it says, the 2-day preliminary hearing of Ray offered the first glimpse of evidence and a more complete account of the 2 women's captivity. They testified of being abducted, chained, tortured sexually with objects, and given electric shocks. One woman escaped and reported the attack last month, and the other came forward at that time with the story of a similar ordeal in February. Both women said they were assaulted in a trailer near Ray and Hendy's mobile home. The trailer, called the Toy Box, contained chemicals, surgical tools, sexual devices, a gurney, pulleys, weights, and video cameras. I mean, this sounds like an absolute nightmare here. Investigators John Briscoe testified Friday. One of the women testified Thursday that Ray and Hindi watched her from their nearby mobile home via a television monitor while she was in the trailer. Investigators found a strapped chair in the trailer that could be moved by remote control, numerous videotapes and audio cassettes depicting bondage and torture, and instructions on how to handle excuses given by a captive. Don't let her get to you. If she's worth taking, she's worth keeping, the instructions read. To intensify her fear, tell her she will be kept as a sex slave. Both women said they listened to an audio tape described as an orientation tape that told them what they would experience during their captivity. It said, once we get tired of you, we'll get rid of you, one of the women testified. Investigators searching the mobile home also found blood, hair, and feces, a cattle prod, and a coffin-like box that had hooks for restraints at each end and was equipped with an electric fan and a vent, Briscoe said. District Attorney Ron Lopez said there were other victims who have not yet been identified. I don't think he was after somebody who was willing. He likes to see the pain and the torture, Lopez said. Ray's attorney, Jeff Rain, had argued that some of the charges should be dismissed, saying his client did not hold a gun used to threaten the women and that the two victims' injuries were not sufficient to prove great bodily harm. One of the women, a 22-year-old Albuquerque resident, screamed at Ray and wept on the witness stand as she described Thursday how she broke free after 3 days. This is like a preliminary hearing, I think. The woman threw down a padlock collar held by the prosecutor and swore at Ray. "How could you do this to me? You sorry bastard, you bastard," she said. The woman said she fought back with an ice pick and fled Ray's lakeside mobile home. Except for the padlocked metal collar and chain on her neck, she was naked as she ran down the street seeking help. Ray's neighbor, Darlene Breach, said she called police after the terrified woman ran into her home. Ray is also accused of abducting and torturing a Truth or Consequences woman, a woman earlier in her, Truth or Consequences woman a month earlier. In her testimony, the woman said she managed to persuade Ray and Hendy, whom she had known earlier, to release her after 5 days. I had to play the part to be their friend in order to still be alive. So yeah, I always tell people you got to do that. If you are somebody who's been abducted and you got to the point where they've got you and they're taking you somewhere, you're probably your best out. People go, "Oh, you just fight back and start running." Yeah, come on. These guys, if you're out in some place, you got to pretend that you like the person. Like, "Oh yeah, hey, listen, tell you what, just make them feel like you actually give a shit. And then you might have a shot. But if you don't, and they got you way out in the middle of some place, Elizabeth Smart, I don't know that story. That one's a weird one. I don't know what happened in that one. Yeah, anyways, it says right here, Ray is also accused of abducting and torturing a truth. Okay, I had to play the part to be their friend in order to still be alive. I'm surprised I made it out there with what they were doing to me. I didn't know if I was going to... Yeah, I guess Smart did sort of do that. Yeah. With what they were doing to me, I didn't know if I was going to see my kids again. The Truth or Consequences woman said she was afraid to call police at first, and when she did, they didn't follow up. Good for you, police. Good job on that one. The dead man had worked with... Okay, here we go. Billy Ray Bowers. Remember the Bowers we were talking about? Listen to this. Billy Ray Bowers, whose body was found floating in Elephant Butte Lake in 1989 with a bullet wound to his head, worked with David Parker Ray. Oh, jeez. In Phoenix at the time he was killed, an FBI spokesman said Friday. Ray worked at Canal Motors, Inc. in Phoenix from 1982 to 1990 as a mechanic, according to his 1994 work application with the New Mexico State Parks Division. He leased property at Elephant Butte Lake State Park in 1983, although he didn't move to New Mexico full-time for another 7 years. Bowers reportedly disappeared from the Phoenix car repair shop on September 25, 1988. A year later, a boater at Elephant Butte Lake discovered a man's body wrapped in a blue tarp and roped to 2 boat anchors. He had a gunshot wound in the back of the head. The body was identified as Bowers until very recently, said Doug Belden, FBI supervisory special agent. What do you mean it was identified as Bowers until very recently? What do you mean? I don't get that. Or did it say the body wasn't identified? Okay, there you go. Ray is charged in an Elephant Butte sexual torture and kidnapping case. Another suspect in the case, Dennis Roy Yancey, has been charged with murder, but Ray has not been charged with any homicides. Belden said Ray and Bowers had worked together. This is the Bowers, the guy with the blue tarp, had worked together, but he would not say if Bowers' death was connected to Ray. All I'll say is that the matter is under investigation. The manager of Canal Motors declined to talk about either Ray or Bowers when reached by phone Friday. About 2 months before Bowers' body was discovered in 1989, a boater found the body of an Albuquerque woman, Janice Pulliam, floating in the reservoir. Her body was tied to a sand-filled gasoline can. Belden said investigators have determined that case is not related to the present case. He would not elaborate why, I guess. Okay. Move on to the next one. And on April 20th. I mean, this is all happening quick over there, like in a month, you know. Yes, this is more on Billy Bowers. Police have evidence that a man whose anchor-weighted body was found floating in Elephant Lake, 1989, had worked at the same car lot as the primary defendant in the sex torture case. He had worked with David Parker Ray, 59, who was bound over for trial last week on 25 counts that included kidnapping, criminal sexual penetration, and aggravated battery. They worked in the same car lot, said FBI agent Doug Belden. We're looking into it. Ray worked at Canal Motors, Inc. in Phoenix from 1982 to 1990 as a mechanic, according to his 1994 work application. Before his arrest, Ray worked as a mechanic at Elephant Butte State Park. Belden wouldn't comment on whether the death is related to the sex torture case. I mean, who knows what the reasoning is, but it sounds really likely. Man found dead in lake, worked with defendant. So we're still... This is like 3 weeks later. Are they still going to talk about the same thing? He had worked with David Parker, 59. Let's see. A man whose anchor-weighted body was found floating in Elephant Butte. Yeah, that's that Bowers guy. Yeah, so I think that one's just a duplicate there. And May 11th. Facts keep unfolding in torture case. So let's see what's new here. The next chapter in a sex torture case case that includes kidnapping, sexual degradation, and a murder charge is set to unfold in a courtroom here Tuesday morning. The case now involves 4 suspects and 3 women. I think this is... yeah, so let's see. That's right. The case now involves 4 suspects and 3 women who say they were held captive and tortured with sexual devices. We have plenty of evidence to review, and the investigation is continuing. The most recent suspect arrested in the case was Glenda Jean Jessie Ray, 31. Miss Ray and her father, David Parker Ray, 59, are accused of abducting a Sierra County woman who told police she was sexually assaulted for at least 3 days in June of 1996. Miss Ray is scheduled for a preliminary hearing. This is another person. Now there's 4 people colluding and doing all this stuff. In Sierra County Magistrate Court, through her lawyers, she has denied the charges. Her father waived his preliminary hearing, which also was scheduled for Tuesday. Miss Ray was arrested last month at her father's mobile home in Elephant Butte, a small lakeside resort northeast of Truth or Consequences. She is charged with 12 counts, including kidnapping, criminal sexual penetration, and assault. Prosecutors filed identical charges against her father, who also was charged with 25 similar. So his daughter's been charged now, too. Papers. Hendy says Ray killed 14. So, you know that Hendy, the other guy? Well, I mean, look at this. Man, this is crazy. So, this guy is a serial killer. No doubt about it. Coffin-like box found in search. A co-defendant of Elephant Butte kidnapping and sex torture suspect David Parker Ray told police that Ray said he has been involved in at least 14 killings, according to court documents. Cynthia Lee Hendy, who is now trying to hammer out a plea deal in the case, also said the 59-year-old Ray told her he had been involved in the torture and sexual abuse of numerous females, the documents said. Those documents contain details on what investigators were looking for and what they found, such as a 7-foot-long box resembling a coffin and a map of Elephant Butte Lake marked with X's at several locations. Ray has not been charged with homicide, and no bodies have been found since the investigation began in late March. His attorney, Jeff Rain, said Wednesday that Ray is maintaining his innocence. Rain also said Hendy was potentially facing almost 2 centuries in prison before agreeing to a plea deal that cut her potential prison time to as little as 12 years. He added that Hendy made the deal after law enforcement made statements that the case could involve homicide, and he suggested Hendy is telling investigators what they want to hear. Anything that involves Cindy Hendy should be viewed with some skepticism, he said. Let's see. A raft of search warrants and affidavits that had been ordered sealed by a judge were released Wednesday morning. They offered dark glimpses into the potential enormity of the investigation. Ray and Hendy, 39, are accused of taking part in a kidnapping and sexual torture of 2 women earlier this year. Ray and his daughter, Glenda Jessie Ray, 32, are also suspected of pairing up in the July 1996 kidnapping and sexual assault of another woman. Let's see. Another woman. Now, does that go down here? Because that sentence doesn't. Let me go back to page 1. Oh yeah, another woman. Jessie Ray maintains her innocence. Among other things, the newly released court papers say Handy gave police information that appears to be linked to a body that had been discovered in Elephant Butte Lake. Belden said the body discussed in the court papers is that of Billy Ray Bowers. Bowers' body was found floating in the lake. Thanks, Annabelle Stealth. Floating in the lake in 1989 with a bullet wound in the head. And the FBI said Bowers once worked with Ray in Phoenix. Yeah, so I am still here. Although prosecutor Jim Johns said the long list of what police found in their searches of Ray's home and several other locations has not been unsealed, the affidavit named numerous items. About 100 videotapes. One affidavit, dated March 26, said the videos had not yet been viewed, but an investigator testified during a court hearing on Tuesday that one of them showed a victim strapped down inside a trailer known as the Toy Box. That was on Ray's property. Well, here's the property, right? So you can see the property is probably that fence. And this is 2013, but what if we went back there? Oh, look at that. See, 1996. There's more. That looks like there's right there like a shed or a trailer or something. Yeah, see how it's gone now? They probably took it away for trial. So that's 1996 and then 2004. What if I go a little higher like that? Yeah, that's funny. Look at that. So it could be this thing here, you know. It's hard to really say. But it's not there now. This is the... I don't know what that is. That looks more like a small water tank or something. Let's see. Yeah. Or it's a tank of some sort. But I bet you it was right around in here, maybe, where that thing is. Or maybe, I don't know, that's on the other property. This fence, I think, is the piece of property. Identification cards for people who are not known to have any connection with Ray. Handy or the Ray's residence. One affidavit said the investigation is ongoing to determine the location of the persons whose identifications have been found. Boating relating items that have tested positive for the presence of blood and maps of Elephant Butte lakes that are marked with X's at various spots. Sounds like Israel Keys. At various spots around the lake, including Kettle Top, an island that clearly visible from Ray's house. Let's see. Clearly visible from his house. Where is Kettle Top? That's Kettle Top Road. So can you see? Let's see. I mean, is that the island over there they're talking about? Or is that the mountains in the background? Oh, that's probably... That's over here. Well, that's Kettle Top Butte there. I wonder if that's Kettle Top Island, even though it's not really an island. But I bet you... Yeah, I bet you at some points during the year the water's high enough. So, yeah. That's completely underwater in that shot. Look at that. And now it's May 2023, it looks like that. But that's probably the island they're talking about. So you're on, let's see if you can see it from right here. Yeah, you can probably, from his house, see it back there, I would imagine. Isn't that crazy? Man, unreal. The affidavit said that according to Handy, Ray had admitted to disposing of bodies in the water between his residence and Kettletop. And he would also allegedly bury or dump victims at various locations in Sierra County. Anatomy books, medical books, and a chart depicting what appears to be methods of sexual torture and bondage that were reportedly found in the trailer known as the Toy Box, along with photographs depicting women in various stages of bondage. One affidavit said Handy described those photographs, and officers were told that 2 of these women had been killed by defendant Ray. Another affidavit said the age of some photos that were found indicated the activity had taken place for some time. A large coffin-like box and a diagramma in a glass and wood case that contains dolls posed and painted in different positions depicting bondage and sexual sadism. One affidavit said the coffin-like box was about 7 feet long and had carpeting inside. It also had ventilation holes so that a person could be secured in the box at the same time kept alive for an extended period of time. Badges and other identification related to law enforcement, police radio scanners, and material that might have been used to soundproof the trailer. One affidavit also said Handy told police that Ray would use makeup on his victims so that they would photograph properly. He put makeup on them. If he felt portions of their bodies would not photograph well without makeup. Investigators have pored over Ray's property for more than a week. The search warrant paperwork said they also sought warrants to search the State Parks Division office where Ray worked, his Chevy work truck and boat owned by his son. They also sought warrants for the post office box that, hey, look at that post office box. There it is. That's been verified. I told you what that number was earlier. That's crazy. Post office box that Ray and Handy reportedly used. They both had the same one, too. The non-legal mail that Ray sends and receives from jail. The clothing Ray wore to jail. And a fur supermarket in Truth or Consequences where a package of photographs listed under Handy's name had reportedly been taken to be processed. Come on, guys. We can hit that goal. I know it. There are 230 people watching. The goal is 70. So if you each send in 50 cents, if you feel like I'm worth... Yeah. That also provides the energy for the show, Plus today's especially doing a lot of reading, so it's not easy. This is long, but it's interesting for me. What do you guys think so far? You got a map with X's on it, puts them all around in the area, has a trailer hooked up with a coffin with holes in it, tables with restraining devices. It's really absolutely nuts. This must have been crazy. Yeah, I can't even go over all the articles there are. There's too many of them. Investigators have pored over Ray's property for more than a week. The search warrant paperwork said they also sought warrants to search the state parks. Belden said investigators have done some preliminary searching of Kettletop, but I can't get into what we've done. A fourth suspect in the case, 27-year-old Dennis Roy Yancey of Truth or Consequences, was arrested in early April on suspicion of killing a Truth or Consequences woman who has been missing since July 1997. And May 30th. Hey, it's John Dunn! Hey, are you sure about that, John Dunn? You should have sent in $20.26, right? Because it's gonna bother you with that 74 cents at the end. Remember that? That was funny. Hello, everyone. I had to skip the last 4 minutes to catch up. Pretty sure I missed the... Yeah, I mean... Well, if you missed the last 4 minutes, you probably didn't miss much. So let's see. Look at this. This is an image.
Hello everyone.
Right there.
I had to skip the last 4 minutes to catch up. I'm pretty sure I missed the good stuff, but wow. What a case Gray found.
Yeah. It's nuts. So that's apparently is the property. I think that might be like this. Yeah, that's it. That's wild. Okay, so let's take a look at it like this. So that's the angle. I couldn't see this. My eye didn't see that blackness there. But see how the shape of it goes like this? And then I take it away, and that's exactly here, even with the fence and everything. So you got a fence here. And as a matter of fact, you can even see whatever this building is just right there. So, yeah, and I see the water tank, which is right there. Looks like, and whatever that square thing is might be the trailer. But look at all these other ones. You got this one, this one. So now that we have this picture from the air, let's go back in time. Okay, it's going to be this one back in here though. Not that one. I think this one. Yeah, that's it. I mean. That's, I mean, even though it's blurry, see this right there? You can see that it's right here. And then maybe, let me even go back to the next one, 1996. Ah, crap, that sucks that that one doesn't update. Yeah, so it's that's 85, 96, yeah. Yeah, you can definitely see that. So that dark spot right there is probably whatever this material is, and then right there is the other unit. It's just not really clear. And then obviously they took the stuff away for the investigation. This shot here, that doesn't have any of those other items in it. We go to 2009. Yeah, see that the two trailers, the one that was here and right there, right next to the house, they're not there anymore. But it's pretty cool when you can sort of see stuff like that. You can tell that they moved the stuff away. Yeah, just send me an email, Ava. That's all you got to do. I don't write anything down or anything like that during the show, so. So that's Hindi, Yancey, Ray, and his daughter. She ran terrified down a dusty southern New Mexico road, blood smeared and naked. I think we already did that part there. How about this one? In Ray's mobile home and a nearby trailer dubbed the Toy Box, police found intricate handcrafted torture devices, photographs of women being tortured, guns, a coffin-shaped box with a ventilation system to keep victims from suffocating. After removing 1,000 pieces of evidence from the property, they started digging in the yard with shovels and probing with electronic devices. They brought dogs trained to sniff human remains to search the yard and some sandy gullies in the area. They even used a backhoe to search for bodies. FBI profilers described Ray as a sexual sadist. Prosecutors called him a sexual predator. The first woman told police she had been kidnapped by Ray and Hendy in Albuquerque while negotiating a price for oral sex. She said she escaped from Hendy 3 days later while Ray was working. The second woman, from Truth or Consequences, said she hitched a ride to Ray's house in February to borrow a cake mix. So that first one, that story seems to have changed, because I thought it was she went into the car and then he said, that he was a cop. And I mean, I don't remember that part of the story about oral sex in it. Later, police used the videotapes found at the home to track down another woman. She testified that Ray and his daughter kidnapped her after a night of bar hopping in July of 1996, then dropped her off several days later at her mother-in-law's house. Two women's stories are similar. Two women said they remembered hearing an audio tape that warned them they would be kept naked and chained. Can you imagine how freaky that would be? That's something out of a movie. I mean, an audio tape in the background. That they would be kept naked and chained up like an animal and used and abused. Police found 9 such tapes at the home, and an investigator identified the voice on at least one tape as Ray's. The tape said the woman's memory would be fogged with drugs after the ordeal. All said they were tied up and sodomized and assaulted with sexual devices and treated like animals. 2 said they were given electric shocks through clips attached to their nipples and genitals. Prosecutors say Ray had a favorite place to degrade his victims: the toy box, a large, soundproof trailer next to his mobile home. I bet it's this one right here. Right there. It looks more sturdy than this thing. Ray's accuser recounted nightmarish episodes in the trailer where they couldn't tell day from night. The trailer was filled with instruments and gynecological table with restraints, a pulley system to allow body parts to be attached, books on female sexual behavior, and drawings of women being sexually tortured. On the trailer interior walls were photographs of victims, charts to keep track of what was done to each, and homemade posters with detailed instructions on how to treat sex slaves. One stated coldly, "If she's worth taking, she's worth keeping." Next door neighbors described Ray as a polite man who kept to himself. See, this is just the classic, serial killer living among people. 2 months after the first woman's story was told, law enforcement officials are not ruling out more suspects, charges, or victims. We're still very open-ended on this investigation, said FBI agent Doug Belden. All right, and here's another one. Ray's daughter enters plea of innocence. So the daughter of man charged with 37 counts in sexual torture case entered a plea of innocent to 12 similar charges. Glenda Jean Jesse Ray, 32, waived a formal reading. I probably don't need any more out of that one. Then in 2000, there's articles forever and ever and ever, but I'm just going to move forward to this part. Was kind of weird. One of 3 women accused. One of 3 women who accused David Parker Ray of kidnapping and sexually torturing her has died, a prosecutor said Monday. Angelica Montano, believed to be in her 20s, died Sunday, said Jim Yance, deputy district attorney. The cause of death wasn't known, Yance said. An autopsy was conducted and the results have not been released yet. Last year, Montano alleged in an affidavit that she went to Ray's trailer in Elephant Butte to pick up a cake mix for her boyfriend's birthday party, then was taken captive. Isn't that weird, that one witness? She, the one that went there to get cake mix or whatever, she died randomly. Who knows how random it is? Is there an unknown another party out there that didn't want her to testify? I mean, who the hell knows? That seems weird, though. But maybe a lifestyle was, who knows? Drugs, something. Ray had shared the trailer with a former girlfriend, Cindy Handy, who pleaded guilty last year to being involved in sex torture case. Sex torture witness wanted to go home. So I think this is trial now. So they finally got the trial, and I got there's 5 days of this. So let's just see what it says. I mean, it might be pretty interesting. A woman alleged Monday she was raped strapped to a weightlifter's bench and tortured with sexual devices in Elephant Butte. But she couldn't scream for help because her mouth was taped shut. I was scared. I didn't know what they were going to do. I wanted to go home, the woman testified in the retrial of David Parker Ray, accused of holding her captive and sexually torturing her for days. Ray, 61, is being retired on retried, I think it says. So I guess apparently there was another trial that was a hung jury. I mean, what kind of a moron a person on a jury wouldn't have found him guilty? I mean, give me a break. Ray, 61, is being retried on 12 charges of abducting and sexually torturing the Colorado woman near Elephant Butte Lake in 1996. His first trial in Tierra Amarillo last summer ended in a hung jury. See, that just shows you how stupid people are. Lee McMillan, Ray's attorney, said in opening statements Monday that the circumstances under which the woman alleges she was held without her consent could have been a harmless fantasy, but prosecutors said she was sexually assaulted and confronted with weapons, handcuffs, and a neck chain secured to the floor. She's being kidnapped. She does as she's told if she has a weapon held on her, said Deputy District Attorney Jim Yancey, who told the State District Attorney jury the woman was held captive for 3 days. Among evidence seized in Ray's backyard gravel trailer was a videotape that showed the woman and Ray, FBI agent Tony Maxwell, testified. So there's videotape showing Ray and this woman. The woman and jury viewed the tape Monday. God, could you imagine being on that jury, seeing that stuff? Monday, and the woman wiped away tears. She said it was the first time she had seen the tape, although she had seen a still photo from it. Spectators could not see it. Ray came under scrutiny in March 1999 when an Albuquerque woman wearing nothing but a dog collar ran to the home of one of Ray's neighbors and said she had escaped from a trailer full of sexual torture devices. The current alleged victim came forward in 1999 after hearing that Ray was under investigation for sexual torturing the Albuquerque woman and another female. McMillan questioned why it took the woman nearly 3 years to accuse Ray. She never made allegations that David Parker Ray ever did anything wrong, he said. Only later did she decide she was a victim. After court, McMillan listed some... I mean, maybe that's the angle that got him off on the first case. Somebody, you're a sex worker or something. Okay, forget it then. After court, McMillan listed some differences in her testimony Monday compared with what she said during the first trial, last year. Some firsts Monday, he said, including telling the jurors she couldn't walk and needed help when Ray dropped her off at her in-laws' house following her 3 days disappearance. She left an open beer on a table and drove an intoxicated friend home the night she disappeared, then drank more of the beer after returning to the bar. McMillan said the implication was that the drink was spiked. And she also said that she remembered hearing the keys when Ray locked her in. Yancey acknowledged her memory was hazy about some details, but said she is clear about others. Alright, I'll be back in a minute. But don't forget the goal. We're almost there, guys. 80%. It's a long one. It's a long one. Jury listens to audio tapes in sex torture case trial. A sexual explicit audio tape seized from an alleged torture trailer was played for the jury in the retrial of David Parker Ray, and one woman juror covered her face. State Police Detective John Briscoe testified Tuesday that 40-minute tape featured Ray's voice. Jurors listened to the tape, which contained a monologue detailing sexual acts expected of a captive. You are going to be kept in a hidden slave room. You're going to be kept like an animal, the tape said. Your only value to us is that you have an attractive body. As it played, one juror covered her face with their hands for a few minutes. Ray, 61, is being retried on 12 charges of abducting and sexually torturing a Colorado woman near Elephant Butte Lake in 1996. A videotape showing Ray and the Colorado woman also was shown to jurors for the second straight day. It showed the woman strapped to an exercise-type bench, her eyes and mouth covered with duct tape, while Ray circled her, occasionally stroking her or adjusting the straps. She rolls her head side to side, and later, when he unstraps her wrists, she folds her arms across her chest. The woman, now 27, wiped away tears as she and jurors watched the videotape Tuesday. The jurors showed no reaction. Really? The woman testified Monday that she was tortured with sexual devices but couldn't scream for help because her mouth was taped. The videotape was seized from Ray's backyard trailer, FBI agent Tony Maxwell testified Monday. State District Judge Kevin Sweezy allowed it into evidence Tuesday. Defense attorney Lee McMillan had objected, saying it was prejudicial. Well, yeah, because it's bad. It's so stupid. Hey, you can't play the tapes because it's prejudicial. Because it points to guilt too much. Well, then don't make the tapes or do this shit, you idiot. Yeah, anyways, newcomer Sweezy replaced the late Judge Neil Mertz, who had presided over Ray's first trial and had begun jury selection for the retrial before dying of a heart attack. Wow, that's crazy. What's going on with this case? A witness dies and the judge dies? The retrial in Sweezy's first as a judge. This is his very first case as a judge. During a recess Tuesday, Ray was heard remarking, "Losing Mertz was a definite blow to my case." While court was in session, a relaxed Ray, dressed in an olive suit, took notes and talked with his lawyer. Other evidence admitted Tuesday. 2 lists Briscoe said were removed from the trailer. He quoted from the first, "Never trust a chained captive. If she is worth taking, she is worth keeping." The alleged 1996 ordeal began after the woman and some friends went bar hopping while she and her new husband were estranged. One by one, her friends went home, leaving her with Ray's daughter, Glenda, Jessie Ray. The woman testified Monday that Jessie Ray had promised to take her home, but instead delivered her to her... that's exactly how I was picturing it. To her David Parker Ray's home, where she was taken captive at knife point. Alright, then the next day, ex-spouse testifies in sex trial. The former husband of a Colorado woman who alleges she was kidnapped and raped by David Parker Ray testified Wednesday he did not observe any physical changes in her several months after the alleged incident. But the intimacy thing was gone, he said. Stuff like hand-holding. He broke down crying on the stand and was excused. Ray, 61, is being retried on 12 charges of abducting and sexually torturing 27-year-old woman near Elephant Butte Lake in 1996. Hold on. Now, thanks to Danette there on PayPal. But come on, you guys. You got to beat the morning crew. You guys. It all helps out the channel, and you guys know what we do here. I mean, we've donated $62,000 last year, and I know what it takes to do it, so that's why I have the goals. The goal that you see on the screen right now is when I didn't have a goal, you guys would blow that thing out of the water. But I put it up there so I wouldn't have to keep mentioning it. But it seems like now I have to mention it more. When I'm reading, it's just, it's not stressful because you guys see it up there. But when I used to give out notebooks? See, those nights would be if you got to 300, you get the notebooks. And we spun notebooks all the time. But as soon as I have that up there, it's hard to get to the 250. So it's sort of, I'm not sure if it's worth having that goal on the screen anymore. It was done to alleviate stress, but at the same time, it's sort of, it's sort of weird because people are looking at it and it doesn't have an effect. All right, anyways. So now it looks like the husband's up on the stand talking about how he and his wife's intimacy went away, but she hid it from him, basically. The woman testified Monday that she was tortured with sexual devices while tied down. Jurors were excused for the afternoon on Wednesday, so attorneys and State District Judge Kevin Sweezy could hear from Michelle I don't know who that is. I can't pronounce that name. Described by the defense as an expert witness. On Tuesday, jurors watched a videotape that shows a woman strapped to a bench, her eyes and mouth covered with duct tape, while Ray circles the bench, occasionally stroking her or adjusting the straps. At first, as he touches her, she rolls her head from side to side. Later, he unstraps her wrists, and she pulls her arms across her chest, almost hugging herself as he continues to move around the bench. The woman, now 27, wiped away a steady stream of tears as she and jurors watched the videotape. The tape was seized from Ray's backyard trailer, and State District Judge Kevin Sweezy allowed it into evidence Tuesday. But anyways, did any of you guys hear what I just explained to you? Yeah. Among other evidence admitted Tuesday was a 40-minute audio tape of Ray's voice. Criminal investigator John Briscoe testified the monologue went into detail describing sexual acts expected. Yeah, we went over that. The woman's alleged ordeal began after she and some friends went bar hopping in 1996 while she and her newlywed husband were estranged. One of the group, Todd Thompson, who now lives in Sturgis, Michigan, testified Tuesday that the alleged victim did not seem drunk to him. He said he only saw her drink one beer, but he said the next time he saw her, she didn't seem to remember where she had been and looked disheveled, as if she had been sleeping in her clothes. See, I wonder if they have him drugged up so they feel safe at letting him go. You know, like if you're on propofol or something and they're not really even awake, you could probably put them somewhere and the person wouldn't remember where the hell they were or anything. I wonder if that's what was going on. During recess after the testimony, but that girl remembers stuff though, so it can't be that. You know, but some sort of lighter type of sedative or something. During a recess after the testimony, Ray was heard to say losing Mertz was a definite blow. Yeah, we already heard that part. The prosecution arrested the case against the Elephant Butte man accused of kidnapping and sexually torturing Colorado women in 1996. Jurors at the trial of David Parker Ray were dismissed Thursday for the weekend after hearing testimony from a Colorado psychotherapist who was treating the 27-year-old woman. Ray, 61, is being retried on 12 charges of abducting and sexually torturing the women. The woman exhibits symptoms such as nightmares and sleep disorders of post-traumatic stress disorder, testified David Spencer, the therapist. The symptoms are often linked to the traumatic experience, such as the alleged 1996 abduction, he said. Under cross-examination from defense attorney Lee McMillan, Spencer conceded that his patient's post-traumatic stress disorder could be the result of other traumatic experiences. McMillan pointed out that the woman had been physically abused by a boyfriend and traumatized by a boat accident in which her fiancé drowned. Spencer said he has treated between 70 and 80 women that have been sexually abused, and his patient's symptoms are consistent with that. The older sister of the alleged victim also testified Thursday that her sibling has become vigilant and fearful. She goes nowhere without her dog. She keeps a gun ready. She doesn't like to be alone. She keeps her door locked, and friends need to call before coming over. I think people should always call before going over to somebody's house. You know, I mean, no matter what. I don't give a shit if you're a friend or anything. You know, you don't just go up to their door and knock on it. I mean, call first and say, hey, I'm heading over. I mean, you know, sometimes you're just sitting around in your pajamas or something, you know. David Parker Ray case goes to jury. So the woman that testified, yeah. So I think all the stuff's in there. So we'll just. And the next one is man convicted in 1996 torture incident. After more than 5 hours deliberation, jurors convicted a 61-year-old man of kidnapping and sexually torturing a Colorado woman in 1996. David Parker Ray stood Stoically, as the jury read its verdict Monday, the victim, along with family members and supporters, sobbed quietly. Parker's first trial ended in a hung jury. Ray, a former mechanic in Elephant Butte State Park, was arrested in 1999 after a woman wearing only a padlock dog collar ran to the home of one of the neighbors, saying she had escaped from his mobile home. Yeah, so anyways, he got convicted, and then defendant found guilty of sex torture. I guess that's another one. Ray speaks out. I want to see what he said here. Well, the first trial was a hung jury, so. David Parker Ray, the man convicted of kidnapping, sexually torturing Colorado women in 1996, denies ever torturing or doing anything against the wishes of his sex partners. Right. I got pleasure out of women getting pleasure. I did what they wanted me to do. Right. He said in an interview with Albuquerque television station KOB-TV. Last week, jurors in Estancia found the 61-year-old Ray guilty of 12 charges ranging from kidnapping to criminal sexual penetration and assault with intent to commit a violent felony. A prior trial ended in a hung jury. Speaking out about the case for the first time, Ray said he feels he has been maliciously prosecuted because he was not able to tell his side of the story. Well, you were, because you could have testified. You know what I mean? I feel raped, he said. Yeah, right, exactly. Ray, a former mechanic at Elephant Butte State Park, was arrested in 1999 after a woman wearing only a padlocked dog collar ran to the home of one of the neighbors, saying she had escaped from his mobile home. Two other women also accused Ray of sexually torturing them. Prosecutors say there are plans to try Ray in those two cases. Ray admitted during the interview aired Thursday that the sex happened, but said it was not a crime. It was consensual, he said. During Ray's retrial in Estancia, prosecutors played a sexual explicit audio tape recorded by Ray. The tape detailed specific acts of sexual penetration and forms of punishment. Ray's attorney, Lee McMillan, said he was permitted to bring in an expert witness. To explain that the tape could have been intended for use in a consensual... Yeah, right, okay. Prosecutors, however, argued the tape was used as a form of psychological torture. Yeah, so this is sort of interesting. A woman who escaped from suspected serial killer David Parker. This article is from 2022. So this is 21 years later. A woman who escaped from suspected serial killer David Parker Ray, known as the Toy Box Killer, after 3 days in captivity in 1999, is among 6 people Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham pardoned Monday for various crimes. That's cool. I mean, why not give somebody a break of some sort? After an abduction and escape, Cynthia Tremilio, formerly Cynthia Vigil, dedicated her life to supporting women facing homelessness and addiction, the governor's office said in a news release. Dramilia received a pardon for convictions of drug possession and trafficking, misdemeanor, battery, and prostitution. According to the published reports, Ray, who posed as an undercover police officer, abducted her from an Albuquerque parking lot. He took her to Elephant Butte, where he had a trailer he called the Toy... Yeah, so they pardoned her. That's cool. So here's the Wikipedia page where it kind of... We could just read this part about the different people here. It says 53... Billy Ray Bowers, 53, disappeared from Phoenix, Arizona on September 25th, 1988. On September 28, 1989, the body of an unknown man wrapped in a blue tarp was found by fishermen at McCrae Cove at Elephant Butte Lake in Elephant Butte, New Mexico. No identification was found on him, and it was determined that he had been shot in the back of the head. The unidentified decedent was ultimately identified as Bowers in March 1989 when authorities made dental record comparisons. In 1986, Bowers was co-owner of Canal Motors, a used car business that was on the North Van Buren Street in Phoenix, Arizona. The owners employed Ray, who worked as a mechanic and was described as very talented, but was also often in conflict with Bowers. While incarcerated, Handy stated that Ray told her he had killed Bowers and dumped his body in Elephant Butte River. There you go. Then Jules Suzanne Troya, that's the Asian girl, was last seen at Frontier Restaurant in the 2400 block of East Central Albuquerque, New Mexico. During the late evening of September 30th, 1995, she had gone to a bar with friends earlier, then went with girlfriend Glenda Jean Jessie Ray, say a daughter of him. When they left to go to the restaurant, witnesses reported Glenda and Troya had an argument. Glenda later told police she left Troya at the Frontier restaurant and left with her father Ray. Oh boy. So his father was at that restaurant. So you know that didn't happen. But there was no argument. And then Troya just got into the car with the father and Ray, and it just turned, with actually David, Parker, Ray, and her daughter and Troya all got in the same car. And that she and David went to the Elephant Butte Reservoir in southern New Mexico. Let's hear this again. Glenda later told police she left Troya at the Frontier restaurant and left with her father Ray, and that she and David, her father, when she says she, who's she referring to here? Glenda later told police that she left Troya at the Frontier bar and left with her father Ray, and that she and David went to Elephant Butte. So that means her and her father went to Elephant Butte Reservoir in southern New Mexico. Ah, okay. Well, I mean, so you know that you took Troya with you there then, right? Troya has never been heard from again. Ray wrote detailed accounts of sexual tortures and burials of victims, including one in which described an Asian woman who fitted Troya's description. Hey, Plato, don't bother with the PayPals and stuff. It's not happening. All right, so anyway, it says, among the possessions associated with victims was a 2-page letter dated June 1990 to a young woman named Connie from Australia. So this is in his papers, from an Australian man named Mark. According to Ray's journal, Connie was a white woman that he abducted and murdered in December 1995. She was 18 years old and had long blonde hair, a birthmark on her chest, and was 160 centimeters tall. The Australian Federal Police and FBI conducted an investigation hoping to locate Mark so that he would be able to identify Connie and her family and friends, but were unable to do so. Her remains have not been located or linked to an existing unidentified missing person case. So that's somebody that's just gone at this point. Sylvia Marie Parker, 22, was a homeless woman living on the shores of Elephant Butte Lake who was an acquaintance of Ray's via his daughter, who supplied her with methamphetamine and coke. Parker was also the mother of 2 children and was living with them in a tent she had borrowed from David Ray. The police later discovered that Parker's boyfriend at the time was Dennis Yancey. Oh boy. One of Ray's playmates. Parker disappeared on July 5th, 1997, when she was abducted and subjected to several days of torture before accomplice Yancey strangled her to death under orders by Ray. Parker's body was found later that month in an abandoned building in Truth or Consequences. She showed no obvious signs of torture. Her death was not connected to Ray until Yancey confessed to her murder in 1999. At 10:30 a.m. on June 30th, 1999, Ralph Tudor, a 61-year-old El Paso resident, was fishing in Elephant Butte Lake. Caught on Tudor's fishing line was an 80-pound gunny sack filled with what he thought was animal flesh. The sack was split along its seams. He then suspected it was human parts and alerted authorities. The gunny sack was determined to contain human flesh, but no organs or bones. This meant that the unidentified victim was mutilated and dismembered before being dumped in the lake. Allegedly, Ray said, "The thing to do is cut them down the belly, scoop out their guts, fill the chest cavity with cement weights, and then use baling wire to strap them up." Furthermore, state police found bone fragments in Elephant Butte Lake belonging to a human leg in 2011. The DNA identified the victim as a female, but she was not linked to any reported missing women. Yeah, I'm going to go check out, like, I'm sure there's, I'm going to go check out the documentary that was mentioned above and everything like that. But that's really about it, you guys. And I think this show's run its course. So thank you all for being here tonight. I appreciate it. And thanks for those who found it worth supporting the channel. We had Eugenie, Lisa Holland, Mountain Jam 71, Danielle. Thank God for Lainey Jones and Ash Runs Wild. Also CG, Snarky Cinderella, Plato, Kat Stewart, Jessica Schubach, Annabelle Stealth, and John Dunn. So didn't come close to the goal, but gave it a shot. That's why I can't do these. I got to keep doing Brian Koberger and Delphi and all the big cases every single night, or it just goes. You know what I'm saying? Even though you guys tell me you love the old cold cases in the newspapers, the numbers say differently. But I guess I'll still do them. It just sucks, But anyway, thank you guys very much for being here tonight. We will see you tomorrow sometime. I got stuff to do, and that's it. So thank you very much, and until next time, be safe out there. Hope you guys thought that was interesting. I did. Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. Yeah, we say that every night. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person. Yeah, it's a new night tomorrow. New day tomorrow. Yeah. Crime dissector, plug rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Grader's gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a pup protector. Fooled a Thanks,
lector,
everybody.
Interceptor, and I'm meaner than a specter with a vector.
We'll
on
see you
his
tomorrow.
vector, with all respect, y'all. Just remember I've a temper fucking check ya. I have no agenda, I'm no pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work.
Good night, everybody.
That's how I feel, Mary Lou.